Alright, we have a huge game of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, teamed up with what I call the bad guys versus the good guys. Total points of 4,750 per side, broken down as you can see on the screen. Vampire Counts and Warriors of Chaos versus the Wood Elves and the Bretonnians. So we fought this game on an 8-foot table, and otherwise terrain and other setups were the same as we would do in a normal game. So it was somewhat congested. But nevertheless, that 2 extra feet on the table really made it seem like there was a lot going on. Giving you this as an overview, you can see the color changes at the very top, but the table does extend past the darker green that takes up most of it. So what we decided to do to make it fun was not just have the armies next to each other, but to try to mix our units in and out all the way across the board, so there'd be more coordination between the armies instead of just 2 separate games going on in the same table. So here we go. This is on my far right. Looking at us, we have some Warhounds with some frenzied Chaos Knights behind them, dire wolves. There's a vampire with a giant behind him, skeletons, some wraiths with the banshee behind them, Graveguard with a vampire, I want to say BSB, I think. That might have been his general, though. Behind him are skeletons, and that is either the BSB or the general. I forgot where that character went. Anyway, some more skeletons. Behind the wood or some marauders on foot. In the woods is some low-level character. I don't know if he was a sorcerer or just an exalted hero. I just don't know. Anyway, there's a chaos chariot, some marauder horsemen. Next to them and in front of the marauders is a big unit of Chaos Knights with the Chaos Lord on a juggernaut, some dire wolves in front of them, a Vargulf, 9 black knights with a white king with them. And let me just take a time out and say, if you look at the power concentrated between that Chaos Chariot all the way through the black knights, that is one intimidating group of units right there. Anyway, there's some more Warhounds, and then there's another none too shabby unit of Chaos Knights with an exalted hero on some kind of snake-looking thing. And on the very far left, he's got some mounted marauder fast cav. So facing that, really our game plan was to put our anvil units in the center of the board, put our hammer units more at the flanks. So our number 1 job is to secure the flank, and number 2 job is to wheel around and deliver the punch in the middle of the board. So I've got a small unit of Knights Errant. There's a unit of Wild Riders, and there's a noble with them. I don't know if it's Highborn, whatever he's called. He's a hero level character with the Wood Elves. I have my general, who's a Bretonnian Lord on a flying Pegasus. 5 Grail Knights with a damsel. There's a unit of Pegasus Knights. Unit of 8 Knights Errant with my BSB. To the left of them are some Dryads. And that's one big unit of Dryads. I believe there's 12 of them. And then there's a unit of 3 Treekin. On that hill is my Trebuchet. And so the Trebuchet is on the hill just to the right of this picture. And behind the hill there's a unit of Glade Guard. And behind all that I have a unit of Bowmen. It just didn't show up in any of these pictures. Anyway, then I have some Skirmishing Bowmen, some Bretonnian Fast Cav, my big block of Bretonnian Men-at-Arms. To the left of that, you can see there's a some Glade Guard. Behind the Glade Guard is a Wood Elf Highborn on a dragon. Behind him, I believe, is some Fast Cav. To the left of them is another big unit of 12 Dryads, some more Glade Guard, some more Pegasus Knights. And on our far left, we have some more Wild Riders. You can see the Spell Singer behind that unit of Glade Guard. And then to the far left is a unit of 8 Knights of the Realm with a damsel. So, that's a big game. So, he takes that vampire. If you look at the house at the very bottom, he could march 18 inches, and he had the scout special rule, so he was a little bit forward of his deployment zone anyway, and he marched up as far as he could so that he could cast a spell that put some zombies right in the middle of our guys. So that's what he's doing. Everybody else, you can see he just moved up. He's got his wolves up so that if I charge him, he flees, and his Chaos Knights get the charge on me. and otherwise he's just trying to get into the fight as quickly as possible. There in the middle of the board, you can see he's moving up those powerful units. You can see where the direwolves are, there's a Vargulf between them and that impassable terrain, so that's where that guy is. So he's got those Chaos Knights, a Chariot, a Vargulf, and all those Black Knights all together in the middle. The Marauders behind the woods, he's holding back because he knows we have so much shooting on the board that those guys would just be dead if we wanted them to be. Whereas shooting with the cavalry units is a little bit better chance of him saving it with armor saves. So then on his right flank, our left flank, he's got a unit of Chaos Knights with the Exalted, challenging, looking to come forward and challenge our big unit of Knights of the Realm. So what this picture was showing is, if you look at just to the right of my big unit of Knights, there are 6, they look like skeletons, they represent zombies. That vampire who you can barely see just up from the house cast that, so that was his game plan. And so those guys aren't really a big threat. I would have been more concerned if he would have done a charge with them, but even then I wouldn't be too awful worried about it. But what the mistake he made was he assumed that we couldn't see him, but that Dryad unit to the left is such a big unit and extends so far that the ones on the far left could see him and the ones on the far right could reach him. And so he was none too happy about that, but that was, in my opinion, just a mistake he made in turn 1. So, good guys, turn 1. I decided to go ahead and charge my small block of Knights Errant into the Wolves, and I assume I'm going to beat him, and if I do, and he charges me with his Chaos Knights, they plan on fleeing, and then I'll take my Grail Knights and charge his Chaos Knights, because I think I can win that battle. I'm setting my general up on the far right to charge his giant. My general is a monster killer. Any large target I get killing blow on, so I'm looking at that. You can see in front of the house the Dryads charge that vampire, and only I think 2 could make it in, or so that he's kind of in a big Congo line right in the front of my lines. Just south of the house, you can see I took my Pegasus Knights and charged the zombies. I think I'm going to win that fairly easily. Other than that, we just kind of move up. I don't know why I was so in such a hurry to move my knights up, but I did. The Wood Elf player, who in this game and probably all the time, seems to be a more solid player than me. I think he played it a little smarter, keeping some of his units back so that we could bring them around where we needed to and not have them committed. So that's why that big treeman behind the hill. I don't know if I showed him during deployment or not, but anyway, that's why that treeman's there. He's just kind of hanging back to see where he's going to be needed. Okay, so I'm turning the camera back out. This is to my right flank, just showing you a different view of what it looks like with those Dryads and that vampire. So moving just to the left of the board, I have my Pegasus Knights flying in to the side of, not as a charge, but just kind of in the side of the Black Knights, so that next turn I can decide what I need to do with them. He can't see me with the Vargulf, which is why I took him up there. And I don't think he can see me and charge me with anybody, so I felt that would give me a lot of options next turn, and I wouldn't be in danger of getting charged right now. And this is just a view farther left. You can see again the Wood Elf opponent is taking the Dryads between the woods as well as his Highborn on a dragon, and he's not in a rush to shoot him out there and get in the mix real soon. He's just kind of hanging back so that during later turns we can use them where we feel we need them. Both of us, if you look at the very bottom, are taking our fast cav units and just holding back as well. The board is just so congested that if we moved them out, we felt that they would really just get killed too soon without doing any good for us. So we're hanging back with them because we can scoot up and use them to redirect as needed, really whenever we need to. So anyway, that's good guys turn 1. And this was, for me, the highlight of the game. He had a unit of 5 Wraiths with the Banshee, which is just a nasty unit. It causes terror. You can't hurt him except through magic weapons. The Banshee howl is just nasty. And when we were deploying, the Wild Riders that had that Noble with them, my opponent just kind of whispered to me, he goes, "I have the Hail of Doom arrow, we'll take care of those wraiths with the Banshee." And sure enough, turn 1, he shot that at him. It does, like, I believe it's 3d6 strength 4 hits, and all magical, of course, and that unit is tough and nasty, but they don't survive well, and boom, turn 1, totally destroyed. The Vampire Counts player was none too happy about that, but that move right there just kind of made my night. It was great. I've been torn up by those things before. So anyway, that's the end of turn 1, and I'm out of time, so we'll see how it goes from turn 2 onwards during the next segment.